Actually recording us. I'm just turning on the live stream.
I'm recording a backup.
Hello.
Welcome to Riverside. If you need us at any moment, type at Riverside in chat.
You want? Oh, you're trying to talk. Okay, you want to say hi? Ryan wants to say hi.
Okay. Are we live?
To you. We are live. Yeah. To like Elizabeth and Tamahome and Mark. And whoever else might be watching on YouTube. Can you check to see if YouTube's streaming?
Well, tell Ryan I said hi.
Tom says hi. Okay.
I can never remember.
Mark says we are
Sword
alive.
and Laser or The Sword and Laser on YouTube?
I
know we have both of them.
We're Sword and Laser. I don't know. Okay, so you're recording just you or both of us?
I'm recording both of us as a backup.
Shouldn't you record? Oh, because we get the files. That's right. That's right. Okay.
Isn't that right?
It's taking. Your video looks bad on my end.
My video looks amazing on my end.
It looks pixelated.
Your video is the bad one on my end.
Is it bad?
No, your video looks like kind of fuzzy to me, and my video looks like sharp and crisp. But that's because I'm seeing my local.
Me too, yeah. Tom looks choppy to Tamahome. Well, what are you going to do? How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, sound pretty normal? Okay.
I don't see us
Are we streaming
live, but I'm not sure if I'm looking at exactly the right place.
Man, I don't know why that doesn't work. They never answered my support request.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm choppy though. Are
you on VPN?
No, it's the same thing I streamed on DTNS with earlier today. Hardwired, not even Wi-Fi.
Weird. That is weird. I didn't have a lot of quick burns.
What's that?
Or barrier swords. I didn't have a lot of barrier swords tonight.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's okay.
We're going to do another episode next week, so.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, this is new.
What is new?
Picarat said, this is new.
Oh.
Is it Picarat or Picarat or Picara?
Picara. All right. Let's see. Okay. So, are we in good shape? So we're wrapping up Ruthless Lady. Oh, crud. I forgot to put in wrap-up comments on that. Let me grab something real fast. Sorry.
We could just wrap up our own thoughts, I suppose.
Yeah, but it's nice to...
Yeah.
Oh, Rob was so fast. He already moved all the threads way down. I can't find them. He's like, moving on. It's the 2nd of September. Get with it.
Chop.
We're on a new book now, folks.
Keep up, people.
Okay. All right. I like this thread. This is from Seth. Okay, this is exactly along the lines of my thoughts, so this is perfect.
All right.
Perfect thread for that. How's life going, Tom?
Pretty good. My sister was in town last week.
Oh, fun.
And
you do anything fun?
Yeah, we went to Musso and Frank's and a Dodgers game and the New Beverly Cinema and the beach. What?
You know what?
I buried it in amongst the other stuff. And it was on Saturday.
You led with it. No,
I led with Musso and Frank's.
Okay. fine.
We had amazing seats. I wore a Cardinals hat.
Okay. Don't you understand that the Cardinals and the Giants have to form an unholy alliance in order to succeed?
Do you mean the Giants and any other team but the Dodgers need to form an unholy alliance? Because I feel that's more what you need. My wife's happy. That's all I can say. She was like, should I write this? I'm like, no. Should I write this? No. She's like, okay, I'm not going to write anything.
Is she going to tweet things at me?
Not at you, but I'm like, all our friends in San Francisco will not be pleased.
All right. I think we're ready. So you are recording backup. We are recording here.
Yep.
So I think we're in good
all right,
shape.
Let's do it.
Should I sync? No, I don't need to sync. It's
I don't
sunk.
think we need to. I mean, I guess we could, just to be safe.
Just for fun times.
Yeah, why not?
All right. And 3, 2, 1.
It's actually pretty good.
It sounded at least 30 milliseconds off. Whatever. Okay, it's good. Oh yeah, I'd like to put this in another window. Ugh. Clap.
And sausage.
Clams.
This is how the sausage. It's cool that Tom Mahome's in there now.
It is cool. It's cool that everybody's in there. All right. And 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome to... Oh, you thought I was going to clap again. You're right. That is what you should have expected.
Me?
Yeah. No, you're right. We should have clapped again.
Why?
It looked like you were going to clap again.
I didn't think we were going to clap
You raised
again.
your arms up.
No, I was doing 3,
No?
2. I was just...
Oh, I just saw it out of the
Now
corner
you're
of
all
my eye.
pixelated for me. I didn't
Weird.
mean to throw
Okay.
you off. I'm
Let's
sorry.
try again. It's okay. It's allowed. And 3, 2. Hey everyone, welcome to the Sword and Laser. I'm Veronica
And I'm
Belmont.
Tom Merritt.
Sword and Laser is a book club, but it's so much more. We bring you author interviews, news from the world of science fiction and fantasy, and of course, awesome discussions from fans just like
And
you.
I know we're a week off of the normal schedule, and we're going to have another show next week. And I just want to say thank you. I got to spend some time with my sister because of that.
Oh, is that why we rescheduled?
Yeah, because
I don't
my
remember.
sister was in town all last week, and I was like, I can do the show, but it'd be cooler if I didn't have to do the show. So yeah, last Wednesday when we would have normally have done the show, I think we were doing karaoke in my house actually.
Oh, that's okay. All right. I was really hoping you weren't going to say that was the night of the Dodgers
No, that
game,
was
'cause
Saturday
I would have
night.
been
That was her
very
last
upset.
night. Yeah, no, we were definitely singing karaoke instead of doing Sword and Laser.
That's cool. No, and then last night we were gonna, do it last night, and then I was too tired, and there were more.
And
vet
Ray
things
had her
going
vet
on.
follow up on her eye surgery, which, by the way, everything's great. She was
Oh,
clean
good.
billed. The vet was like, I think she might have even popped one of her sutures, but it looks fine, so I'm not going to do anything about it because it's healing great. I'm like, well, awesome. We're all good.
That's amazing. That's really nice. We are also streaming live on riverside.fm, and Tom Mahome wants to know, what is Tom's go-to karaoke song?
We did BTS's Butter, Dynamite. We did some, oh gosh, I can't even remember all this stuff. My go-to is usually Badfinger, no matter what, but I actually didn't sing that.
I don't know that song.
No matter what you are, I will always be with you. Or if you hear the actual song, you might recognize it.
Yeah, that might be. maybe not the best representation.
Maybe not. Maybe you couldn't recognize it even if you knew it from that. I don't know. But that's how it goes to me.
That's fun. I do not have a home karaoke system, but I feel like it's something at some point I'm going to
I've
have
got
to
the
procure for
recommendation.
myself.
It's the choice of Filipinos worldwide. It's only like $150. It's HDMI. It's brilliant.
Tom can say that because his wife is Filipino.
Well, it's also true.
Probably be okay.
I don't think I need a license to say that. But yes, she is also Filipino. However, I'm the one who picked it, and then we found out afterwards. We're like, because I was like, this one looks good. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, we can get this one. She's like, oh, this is apparently the Filipino choice. So yes, extra yes.
This is the one on Filipino wire cutter. That's like the top choice. Good to know. All right. Well, are we drinking? It feels like we're drinking.
I am having a St. Francis Syrah.
Nice. Yeah. I told Ryan to pick me up multiple bottles of whatever cheap rosé he found at Whole Foods. Okay. So I don't know the name of this one.
It's called What's in My Glass.
Yeah, that's the one I'm enjoying.
What's
currently.
in My Glass brand rosé. You know, I have heard that's what very high class people do is they just order by genre. They don't order by brand.
Yeah. Well, I also, to balance things out, I also received my shipment from Gun Bun today of my quarterly wine club shipment of like decent wine.
We're St. Francis, not Gun Bun, but yeah, we do the same thing.
Yeah. So that's how I balance it out. All right. Well, anyway, this is not sword.
And that's it for
Winecast.
Winecast. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Have a great night. Let's jump into the quick burns.
John submitted on our Goodreads Quick Burns thread that Alastair Reynolds released a new book in the Revelation Space Universe Inhibitor phase. He has done an interview, which is available on YouTube, with what John thought at first was a tribute to Seriously Heavy Metal Band. But having watched the first 10 minutes, there was enough interesting content for me to think it was worth a share. I actually haven't watched the interview, but I already saw someone comparing it and contrasting it to the interview with Martha Wells from the Murderbot series, and like very contrasting interview styles between those two interviews.
Oh, I haven't seen either, so I guess I need to catch up on my interview backlog. But that's very cool.
But yeah, new book from Alastair Reynolds. That's the news there.
Is the lead there? Yeah. And then Ruth says, don't know if anyone is into bookcrate subscriptions, but I thought y'all might like to know that Illumicrate is doing an exclusive hardback set of the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee when Jade Legacy comes out later this year. They also have exclusive editions of previous picks, The House in the Cerulean Sea, and This Is How You Lose the Time War. They're based in the UK, but will ship internationally to most countries for a price. Edit, Ruth says, sorry, I failed to include the link. Here you go. The Greenbone Saga Special Edition goes on general sale on Sunday, October 3rd for delivery in early December.
Join the wait list.
Tom is like, how fast can I put my credit card in?
So when I first was putting the lineup together on Wednesday, you could buy this, and now it's joined the wait list.
Oh, wow.
And
did you get in?
I did not buy it.
Hey, did you get your Dune bookends yet?
No, they haven't come yet. It was like a long wait time, long shipping time for that.
I feel like I need to treat myself with something, but I've just...
Yeah, because I don't think they were being released for a while, and then the shipping is not like overnight or anything. So
that's
it might be
right.
like October
That's
before
right.
I get those.
Got it. You're next.
Yes. Well, I'm just sitting here thinking about ways to get the
just
Greenbone
thinking
Saga
about your
Special Edition. But instead, I should be telling you what Mark was wanting us to tell you, that George R. R. Martin just made a sci-fi film with Vincent D'Onofrio. You might know him from Daredevil or Men in Black. The short film, currently in post-production, is based on The Night of the Cooters, a short story by Howard Waldrop. The script was written by Joe R. Lansdale. Vincent D'Onofrio directed, as well as playing a lead role. It's about the time the Martians invaded Pachuco, Texas. When can you see it? Hopefully sometime in 2022. Meanwhile, the short story is available online from Clarkesworld.
Fascinating. Okay.
I am trying not to be the person who says I would have rather blah, 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 because
we're not going to do that.
It's not like time is the uniform substance. It's quite possible for people to help make a sci-fi film and write their next book. I don't think that's the delay. I think the delay is perfectionism, and I respect that.
Okay. I feel like we're veering dangerously close to just saying it without saying it.
Pretty soon we're just going to have to start playing the musical version from John Anealio of Neil Gaiman's blog post.
Mark says, so many already said that. And then Mark says,
no. As Roy Kent might say, no.
We're better than that. We're better than that.
We're going to try to be.
I'm not.
Listen. I am better than that when I think of George R. R. Martin, the person. I'm absolutely better than that. When I think of...
He was so kind.
When I'm thinking of, I would like to read the next book, it's much harder.
Okay, let's we're not saying it, but let's two things. One, George R. R. Martin was very kind to us at the loser party.
He was.
At the Hugos. Yeah. He spoke to us as people.
On a very busy night.
And that was very nice. Yep. It also probably had something to do with the fact that we were the first people there and the only people there for a really long time.
Us and a robot, but still.
I got freaky with that robot. I got pretty freaky with that robot, if I remember correctly.
It comes up. You know how they have the little widget on your phone that throws up stuff? I get that picture sometimes.
Oh, Lord.
Today I get a picture of you and Len Peralta in Atlanta, though.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. This one comes up a lot.
Len and I haven't taken our pictures together in a long time because of, lack of travel. Yeah. Anyway, we're digressing. But yeah. Mark says, show us the bot video. No. Jan says, don't know if this even makes a difference at this point. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. It probably doesn't make a difference at this point. Are you showing the picture? You can't see it. It's too blurry.
It's
too blurry. Nobody can see it. Nobody can see your video. It's too blurry. Sorry. Stop, Tom.
It's not that bad. It's very cute.
I dance pretty well, so I'm not going to complain too much.
I didn't get the freaky
dancing. Part. Thank goodness for that. All right. It's time now for Barry. I guess there wasn't a lot going on this week or the past 2 weeks.
It's August.
So, it's August, slow season. Yeah. All the authors are going back to school.
That's right.
They're just getting ready for the school year.
Yep.
Or they're on vacay.
Taking holidays.
All right. Taking holiday. I heard that a lot of kids are starting to speak with British accents because of Peppa Pig.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that. Yes, the kids don't call it Pepper Pig, but yeah, Peppa Pig.
Yeah, that's what the kids call it, Peppa Pig.
Yeah, there's like a slang invasion from the UK.
Mm-hmm. All right, now it's time for Barrier Sword, which is our feedback from the audience. Drake, who has a new Twitter handle.
Drake?
I would like to point out. Drake Tungsten has a new Twitter
Still
handle.
Very cool. Yeah.
No longer Turtle is my totem. Says, thanks again for talking about Mary Robinette Kowal's Lady Astronaut series in some of your 2019 episodes. I stayed up all night reading The Fated Sky and had finished The Calculating Stars recently. On to Relentless
Drake's
Moon.
now in front of me. I still need to get to Relentless Moon. So yeah, go Drake, go. That's awesome.
Oh, that was an interesting one too. It was very different.
Yeah.
Relentless Moon was super different from the first two, and different character perspectives as well.
And then April Mendes,
which you may not know.
Good to see April Mendes pop up in the mentions, said, this popped up after I heard this week's Sword and Laser, and now I can't stop saying chunk in your funk and Roy on your joy. So thanks for that, Ace Detective Veronica.
This is in reference to the book Kink. Because we used to say, what is the phrase? Now I can't even remember. It's like, don't stink on my kink, or don't...
Yeah. And also harsh or mellow, but that's not kink. It. I don't want to...
Don't troll my role.
Wow. We're coming up with a lot of good ones, but not the one.
Don't fart on my art.
Please don't. It's very rude.
Episode title.
What is it? Why can't I think of it?
I think it is don't stink my kink.
That is one, but that's not the one I'm trying to think of. Don't yuck your yum.
Don't yuck my yum.
Thank you, Jan.
Don't yuck my yum. That's the classic.
Can you imagine if we weren't doing this live on Riverside right now? This would go on for the next 10 minutes.
Up with like 100 new ways Tom Homey says, "Don't yuck my yawn." Good ones, folks. Good ones. I like it. Well, we have a new book pick this month. It is a. Do you want to talk about it? I literally know nothing about this book or this author, so I'm really curious to hear why you
know much more because I want to talk about it more next week. I want to leave the time for the wrap up of Ruthless Lady, but Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. Claire G. Coleman is Indigenous Australian. Terra Nullius is set in Australia, and it's about native population and settlers. And this is the crazy thing about it. This is pretty much all I'll say. Every description of this book is as if it were just historical fiction, as if it was set in Australia's colonial past. And yet everyone who's read it assures me, multiple people in Discord assured me, it's sci-fi. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
and I said, will I like this book? And people said that I will definitely like this book. So I feel like that's pretty high praise.
Yeah. I have already started it, but I still, even if I were to spoil, which I'm not going to, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what the deal is. So
you can't tell if it's sci-fi
I haven't
yet?
got to that part, whatever it is.
Oh, it's so interesting. Are you doing audiobook or Kindle?
There is no audiobook in the United States. Only there is one in Australia. There's one in the UK. I think a few other markets, but there's none licensed for the United States. So I am doing Kobo.
Oh man, okay.
You can get it on Kindle too. But I just decided to do Kobo this time. Actually,
I just mean ebook is hard for me just because I'm reading another book right now on Kindle, so I'll have to stop that, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I can't listen
I had to
on
take
the
some
audiobook,
time
which
from
is
something I would normally. It wasn't a book, but I had to take the time I usually spend on something else and give it to reading the Kobo book. I also bought the book from bookshop.org. Got it from an indie bookstore, so I have the print copy too.
Well, that's nice. Well, I'm very curious. My interest has definitely been piqued, so I'm excited to get into this.
We'll tell you a little more about Claire G. Coleman, maybe a tiny bit more about the book next week, but that just so you know, that's the book for September.
All right, well, let's get into our spoily wrap-up of The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry by C.M. Wagoner. I loved this book.
I did too.
I loved it.
I was really absolutely finding things to do so I could listen to this on the audiobook.
Totally. This was one of those for me as well. And when it was finished, and I did feel like it finished in a very kind of sudden way, almost.
I chalked that up to being part of a planned series. It's like, oh, obviously this story will continue. The next adventure will be, and and folks, we're going to get spoilery here. So if you don't want to be spoiled on Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry, you may want to move along. But yeah, that ending very much felt like, well, now we won't wrap up everything because we're headed up for adventures in the north. Why don't you come with? And they're like, oh, okay, so that's the plot of the next book. Got it.
So, but my understanding was that the next book, or the Unnatural Magic, which seems to be, is it not in that series? It's in the series, but it's not with the same people.
Correct. It's in the universe, but it's not a sequel. So I'm like, well, you very much indicated that our friends here are going. Delia and Wynn are going to continue on. So I don't know if she will go back to them at some point, or if it was just sort of like a faux ending to be like the kind of novel it is. Like serial novels like that in that time period would have ended like that. They would have said, our next adventure will be X, and you're like, oh, I can't wait for the next adventure.
Well, yeah. So I'm curious. I need to do some. I feel like I need to do some searching to figure out if there is going to be a direct sequel, or if that was just the end of that particular part of the tale, and maybe we won't get more of Delia and Wynn, which would be a bummer, which would be sad for me. But there's always room for more stories at the same time.
Crunch all you want. They'll write more.
Yep. Tom and I were messaging each other back and forth in bad versions of their patois of sorts. That's not the right word. What am I trying to say?
The dialect, maybe? Would that be?
Dialect, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell me what you thought. Like, what did you enjoy about the story?
I absolutely adored the world. As I mentioned in the last episode, I'm a big fan of the Regency era and the Victorian Jane Austen, etc. And so I dug that. I also really liked that it wasn't set in that time or place. It was an alternative world that was like that time or place, which kind of freed me from worrying about like, well, would they really do that? It's like, it's a whole other world. They can do whatever they want. I love the invented words, the invented religion, and the invented slang based on that religion. I liked all of that. And I thought Deli was just wonderful, and just a perfect anti-hero, but chaotic good. She's obviously had a hard life, but she's got a heart of gold, and Wynn sees that. And the investigations into Deli's lack of self-confidence, and her not trusting Wynn never went into the predictable relationship stuff, right? Where they have a fight, and Deli sabotages the relationship. It looked like it was going to go there, but it always ends up being more realistic to me. It always ended up being like, oh no, that's what would actually happen. There'd be some hurt feelings and maybe a little misunderstanding, but it wouldn't be this dramatic falling apart. And that said, while that relationship was very real, there was plenty of drama to keep you interested. So you didn't have to overdo it on that. And I'm glad that she made that choice.
I agree. It's funny you say anti-hero or anti-hero, because that's kind of how Seth describes Deli as well in this post. Why can't she be bad? He says, I won't spoil the main plot here. You can. But I will spoil how the romance turns out, which might actually be the main plot of the book, I suppose. While I was reading, I rooted for Deli and Wynn to get together and was pleased that it turned out that way, but have reevaluated a bit now that I've finished and thought about it more. Deli knows she is competent enough, but her own view of her morals is very negative, which made me think that she would turn out to be some kind of anti-hero. Instead, she's really a nice person who has some crappy circumstances and a very low opinion of herself. This is fine, but would it have been more interesting if she actually was the Ruthless Lady promised by the title? Perhaps her funny speech pattern could have turned out to be an act, and she could have consummated her relationship with Wynn and jumped out the window with Wynn's family jewels onto a horse, which she was only feigning not being able to ride, and galloped off in a gin-soaked luxury. It just strikes me as a bummer that instead of being a ruthless scoundrel, the main character turns out to be just a depressed person who needs real love to begin feeling some self-worth.
This is definitely...
honestly, I thought this was going to be a different post, I have to say. I read the first part, and now I don't agree anymore, Seth. I'm sorry. I should have done my homework.
My take on this is why you can never say a book is absolutely good or bad, because we all bring different expectations and different experiences. To me, I would have been sorely disappointed if Seth had got his wish. And I don't mean to take away from Seth. I'm sure Seth would have been super excited, and that would have been fine. But I expected that. I expected her to end up being weak enough to go ahead and screw over Wynn and ruin it, because I've read that story a million times before. And so I'm like, okay, we're probably going to go there. She's probably going to screw things up with Wynn, but eventually maybe they'll patch it up. That would have been less interesting to me. It was way more interesting to me for it to turn out to be a realistic person who's like, yeah, I'm just kind of depressed. My circumstances didn't turn me into a villain. It just turned me into somebody who's not always doing the right thing, and doesn't even know that my heart is in the right place. And to me, that was much more fascinating. And that was my point about there's plenty of other drama. You've got, the whole conspiracy and the people, being milked for their magic and all of that. I'm like, I wasn't lacking on interesting stuff happening in here. So you didn't need to make Deli's relationship with Wynn do that. In fact, I was more satisfied that it was a more realistic kind of dynamic.
Yeah, I was really on the lookout for the impact of self-sabotage throughout this story. And I was not looking forward to seeing that. I think I was kind of bracing myself for the moment when Deli pushed it too far. And like you said, had that big blowout, that big fight that was going to spiral into this whole side story of them being at odds. And yeah, we got a tiny bit of that. But really, Wynn, being like the mature, like adult that she is, was like, I see what you're doing. Cut it out. Cut the shit, basically. And like, I love you. I care about you. Maybe not in so many words, but the sentiment was there. Like, what are you doing? Kind of like that, you know? Like, what are you doing? Cut it out.
Yeah.
And to me, yeah, that felt very like, oh, that's nice. That's nice that I didn't have to go through the stress of like, oh, they're going to go through this. Are they or aren't they? Like,
how many times?
Is Deli going to be able to pull it together? So that was actually kind of refreshing to me. I was happy to see that. And I still think that they're ruthless. Like, I still think that team
Deli's
of women,
definitely ruthless in other ways, for sure.
Yeah. Like, Wynn, like, will fight tooth and nail for what she believes in and stand up for people. You know, Deli, at the end of the day, like, knows how to get down and dirty and figure things out and take maybe a kind of out of the box thinking approach to problem solving that the others might feel uncomfortable with trying to do. So there was a lot of that. I think the characters in the book really brought together a lot of different perspectives and ways of solving problems. And even though they didn't necessarily always work well together in the sense that they got along perfectly, I think the end goal was effective.
I think the
way they got there worked.
The other thing I like about this is you have a relationship between two women and a relationship between two body types, and you have a positive model for that. And the history has been like, well, sure, we might want to represent them, but we'll show them as being catty. Or we might want to represent two body types falling in love, but it can't work. And I'm glad that was avoided. And it was like, no, it absolutely can work. And they're different and they're from different. And it's a class difference relationship. And those aren't supposed to work.
Yeah.
And you didn't make it work easy. There was definitely Wynn going, we can't do that. And Deli going, why not? You know, no rules where I come from. And yet they were still able to work it out, like you said, because they're more realistic people. And Wynn is mature enough to be able to say, you know what? Because in a relationship that does work, that's how it happens. Is one person will often go like, what are you doing? Like you said, you know, like,
yeah,
don't ruin this. And the other person goes, oh, you really mean it? Okay, well then I won't ruin
right.
it. And I love that. I recognized so many relationships I've been in that, for sure.
You dated a lot of half trolls?
I mean, not the half troll part per se, you know, but the attitude.
Got it. I liked how they kind of turned the paradigm on its head at the end by having the troll be the mom and the father, Wynn's father, being like the turbo handsome, like human guy. I liked that, kind of flipping it on its head a little bit from what maybe
I was
you expected.
Suspecting that. I wasn't sure, but I was.
Oh, why?
I was because I'm like, I think they're trying to. I just was like, I think they're trying to mislead me. I think this book likes to subvert my expectations. So, you know, like I wasn't sure. I was like, because I kept paying close attention to the language. I'm like, that leaves a little window. Oh, that could be the other way around.
Yeah.
And then I was not disappointed by that at all. I was super pleased. I'm like, yes, no, you're right. You did it.
I want to hear, now I want to go and hear their story.
Yeah, right?
I want to hear about how they got together and their adventures. And I think that would be a really fun kind of prequel story to read as well. There's a lot of content here, for sure. There's the whole school. Like just being able to like find out what there's always a good story about a magic school.
Yeah. Which is,
like that would be super fun.
I think that's probably why she went with a story in the same world, to be like, this world's rich, like I've created this vast world. Why not go somewhere else in it? I can get back to Delhi and win later if I need to.
Or the sisters. What's her faces? The like all the various sisters with all their skills.
God. And we haven't even talked about the rat.
I was going to get to buttons. Don't worry. That was in my brain. I was queuing up buttons.
Don't forget
the next piece of conversation. I was really proud of my album art for last week's episode. If you haven't seen it, I really feel like I represented buttons very well.
You did too.
Thank you. So Buttons was a magician who was trying to cast some very big magics and ended up turning himself into a mouse who still has the soul of the original human, and communicates through extremely horrific bong sounds. And I'm trying to figure out like what that really sounds like. What about it is so disturbing to people? Is it just the unnaturalness of it?
Yeah, I don't think the audiobook could do it justice. And I'm glad they didn't try. I would rather them just do the straight bong than like try to fall short. Because I imagined it as sort of like the bong from Big Ben reverberating through everyone's brains whenever he did.
Yeah. And I liked how sometimes he sounded like a susurrus of wind going through the trees, or like the babbling of a brook, or, these other like soundscapes that Buttons was capable of creating.
Buttons kept me guessing. I had no idea what was going on with Buttons. Even when we were pretty sure it was the wizard's souls trapped in there. I'm like, but is it? I don't know. Like,
is he good?
Yeah. Is he got an evil plan?
Malevolent?
Like, yeah.
Right.
I love that.
I was kind of worried that Buttons was like at the center of all the evilness. Like a mouse.
Yeah, I kept waiting for Buttons
having an
to
inside
turn.
job. Yeah. But because he was like danger, or like, whoa, why did he keep warning them? What was he warning them about?
I think he just really liked his, and I'm blanking on her name, but the woman who was caring for him. I think he was like, I like y'all,
But he kept telling Deli that like,
I think through her,
danger.
He's like, oh, you're part of the crew. Like, let me warn you. There, but for the grace of God, go I. Well, there, for the grace of God, go you. I guess in that case,
go you. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit in this purse, in this reticule, and hang out. Yeah, I enjoyed Buttons very much. I think Buttons was a good little twist in the story that added a lot of character, and some light comedic moments as well. I
mean, honestly, this world is so rich. You take Buttons out of there, it's fine. The story's still great, but that's a testament to like, no, let's put this in here. It wasn't unnecessary, but. But the story was just better for Buttons. Well done.
Yeah, interesting magic system. So in this world, people are just kind of certain people have an affinity.
Yeah, it's like a talent
and
that
those
needs
people,
to be honed.
And so those people can go to a school or go to go into training to hone that skill. I'm currently reading Once and Future Witches. By Alex E. Harrow, and I find that interesting because it's more like everyone has the ability to cast magic. They just need like the will, the words, and the way. And so it's like I feel like I haven't read a lot of books where magic is, available to everyone. So that's kind of a nice difference in this current book that I'm reading.
It does feel like there aren't a lot of...
In some ways, it's fun to think that anyone would be available.
It does feel like there's not a lot of squibs in the Ruthless Lady universe. Like, everybody's got something. Your talent might be different.
Well, Wynn doesn't.
Wynn?
Wynn has no magic.
No, I thought she did.
No, I don't think so. Oh, maybe she does.
Yeah, I thought she was able to do spells.
Oh, you're right. You're right. No, you're right.
But she doesn't she doesn't
right.
have the same talent as Deli.
I think the sisters don't.
Oh, the bodyguards?
Yeah.
Possibly. But I guess
don't think everyone does.
Where I was going with that is magic seems widespread. It's not like having magic makes you like, oh, you have magic. It's like, oh yeah, lots of people have magic. What's yours? Oh, you're good at that. Did you hone it? Did you learn it? Oh, you did. You went to school. Oh, okay. So you must be accomplished. But yeah, it's not as widespread as what you're describing in Alex E. Harrow's book.
It's like a natural ability that can be improved. Versus
it's like we all can play basketball. Some of us are really talented at it, and some of us,
some of us are Steph Curry.
Yeah, some of us are hone the skill and end up in the NBA. Yeah.
There you go. But overall, I loved this series. The mystery was interesting. There's the whole undercurrent then of like the drug trade and the kind of lives that it ruined there, and the kind of like intense ending where we discover like what had happened to their missing person. All of it kind of felt ancillary. Like I really feel like the main story was like Wynn and Deli.
Well, and that's like, where Seth
didn't care about the mystery all that much.
We didn't read the rest of the thread, obviously, but the rest of that thread, Seth kind of comes to the conclusion that if he had known this was a romance, not just a romantic story, he would have had different expectations. And he's like, yeah, I don't really like romances. So it makes perfect sense that Seth would have been slightly disappointed, because I do think that the love story is the central story here. It's a little bit of the rest of the story is a bit of a MacGuffin. It's not exactly that's too harsh, because there's a real story there and a real mystery. And without that mystery, you don't have the drama to really move you along. But yeah, the main story does feel like it's Deli and Wynn, right?
So how would you compare this to, I'm scrolling through my books because I have a hard time remembering names of all the books that I've read.
Bob, Jim,
Bong,
Fred,
Bong.
Jeff. These are names.
The one that was kind of similar in theme, where it was women with powers in a Victorian setting.
Oh, Theodora Goss.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Now that I have a name, that'll make things easier.
Yeah, it's
tap 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 tap.
There's a I don't know if
it's Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a genre, but I think we touched on that last episode a tiny bit. Is that
we did briefly? Yeah.
It's there's some books that are like this. It's almost the supernatural romance, Regency period, etc.
Gail Carriger. Yeah,
for sure.
That kind of vibe. Oh, Glamorous by Mary Robinette Kowal. Tamahome, I don't know that one. Is that also similarly in this vein? I'm going to have to look that up. I will definitely...
Beth is seconding that.
Ooh. Okay, I'll check that out, because I have so much extra time on my hands right now. We're doing sleep training, so that's fun.
Oh, good.
That's when your baby screams at you for hours because they don't want to go to sleep.
I know sleep training as one member of the couple telling the other member, no, they just need to cry it out. And then me and Eileen sort of receding into the background to let them figure it out.
Yeah. We're not doing full cry it out. We're doing like the gentle, like wussy version of that.
Okay, all right. Maybe easier.
There's still crying involved. Yeah. There's still crying
Not all the crying
involved.
is your son, I'm sure.
Yeah. I've read like stories about people just leaving in the night and going away because they can't take it anymore. Like not forever, just like for a little while, just while the baby cries. With someone else still in the house.
Sure. Not an irresponsible thing, just taking a break.
Yeah. All right. Well, that I think wraps up our episode. Unless you have anything else you want to add about the book, chat room. Anything you want to add about the book? Any final comments as we wrap up this episode of Sword and Laser, episode number 418? They're talking about Beth is now like you should just find some boring audios and play them to the baby.
Yeah.
Any recommendations there?
Any of our previous books that you found particularly boring? I would not play The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry by Sam Wagner to the baby, because that was not boring. That was good time.
I had been meaning to read Sam Wagner for a long time, so I'm happy that we picked a book and that it was really super fun to read.
Yeah, me too.
Tamahome says Robert Rich's 7-hour Somnium sleep album. Okay, that wasn't really what I was asking for. I mean, we were joking asking for that, but that's super helpful.
Well, there you go.
I just play white noise.
You get what you asked for.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Our show is currently entirely funded by you, our patrons. Thank you so much to those who back our show. If you want to help support us, you can head over to patreon.com/swordandlaser.
You can also support the show by buying books through our links. You find links to the books we talk about and some of our favorites at swordandlaser.com/picks.
Send us an email, feedback@swordandlaser.com. You know where our website is, at swordandlaser.com. We're also on Instagram and Twitter at the same handle, @swordandlaser. And all of our discussions happen over on Goodreads. And we will see you just short 7 days from now, or
6,
thereabouts,
maybe.
to kick off, 6 or so, to kick off our next book, Terra Nullius, by Claire G. Coleman. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
I think I might switch our picks over.